Hello there, wellness entrepreneur. Welcome back. Today, I'm talking to the practitioner who's been wanting to launch an online program. They even have a lot of ideas about launching an online program, but they're waiting for the right time. I want to tell you about a conversation that happened on my calendar. I had a consult a little while back with this practitioner, and she's smart, she's warm, she's been doing this work for years, a decade or more. She's been thinking about launching the online side of her practice for at least 18 months. We get about 40 minutes in, and she's told me everything: the patients she loved, the schedule that's eating her up, the program ideas she's been quietly writing in her documents. And then she says this: I'm going to just think about it over the summer, and maybe I'll do it in the fall. I have to be honest with you. For hours, I let a practitioner like that go. I did the thing I have done 1,000 times in my life. Of course, take your time. We'll talk about it in fall. And I get it. As a woman, a lot of us are people pleasers. We just want to be of service to others. We don't want to make them feel uncomfortable. In fact, my job, and I'm realizing this more and more as I come into who I am as a person and how my nervous system responds to things, is that as a child, I was the peacemaker, right? My job to prevent turbulence and violence in my household as a child was to help regulate everyone, right? It was literally unsafe for me to push people's buttons, to have pushback, to sometimes vocalize my opinion or to feel heard, right? And so you might have some other version of this, that doing something that is outside of the box, outside of the norm, that maybe ruffles feathers. Instead, it feels unsafe. And it can feel like love. It can feel like service to not push any buttons, to not ruffle any feathers, to help regulate someone's nervous system instead. But actually, for all of us, the waiting is actually a slow energy leak. And I've become aware of this more and more as I work through my own self evolution journey. And you'll be hearing more and more of this as I go through this. In fact, I just hired a one-to-one coach to specifically help me through this because I may be making some big personal changes in my life as well. And you can stay tuned and I'll take you on this journey from a place of what I'm learning, not me being in the wound, if that makes sense. But I've watched this happen again and again and again. That for a practitioner who's waiting, the fall comes, right? The summer, it feels too busy with their kids out of school and yada, yada, yada. So the fall comes. And now there's a new pressing matters. Maybe an in-law or their own parents are sick because we're in that sandwich generation. Or the kids start school and someone catches strep or has a lice and then the whole house get it. Or the husband's hours work changes. Or the sister-in-law needs help. Or the in-person clinic just gets busier. And then by January, that practitioner who was going to start an online program, who came, wanted to start in fall, is now thinking, well, maybe in spring. And by spring, she's thinking maybe it's summer. And then 2 years go by, and then three. And she's still stuck in that grind, either working for a clinic or working for herself, where she's seeing 12 patients before lunch. She's documenting during lunch and after work. She's missing dinner. And that online program that can give her so much freedom and flexibility in her life is still sitting in her documents app. She is still telling herself she's almost ready. Last week, one of my newer clients said something to me after her consult and on her consult that I haven't been able to stop thinking about. And she is a massage therapist with 11 years in her practice. And what she told me is, I literally just take any person that comes in my door right now. I just take anything. I'm working so hard and nothing's coming in. And I just keep picking out things. I just keep signing up for another course. And that's what waiting looks like, right? Even if it's not that you want to do an online program, maybe you're waiting from some other kind of decision in your business or to take some other transition. This is what it looks like out loud. It doesn't look like waiting. It looks like more certifications, telling yourself and justifying why now is not the right time. I'll launch this after next quarter. I'll launch it when the kids are older. I'll do this when the website's done, when I have the perfect freebie. And all of that looks like effort and it looks like progress. But here's the truth. It's really what's keeping you stuck because it isn't actual progress. And that's what this episode is about. It isn't a strategy, high strategy episode, although I'm going to give you some tips in here. This is a letter to the woman who is almost ready to make that decision and launch her online program. Maybe has been waiting 2 years or maybe 3 or more. I see you. I was you. And some of you know my story, right? For years, I built my in person practice and I considered launching an online program. And I don't talk about this part very often, but I remember listening on walks for 2 years. I listened to 2 podcasts, and at first I listened to them separately. Brooke Castillo's The Life Coaching School podcast and Amy Porterfield's Online Marketing Made Simple. That's what it was called at the time, podcast. And the two of them, I listened to both of them for maybe 6 or 9 months in separation. And then this crazy thing happened. The worlds collided. The two of them independently brought so much hope to my life. Like just the coaching, it was all these mindset shifts that I had heard about, but in all the physical therapy masterminds never really told me how, or it was still bro style, or it was still stuck in like the grind model or insurance model. It just didn't feel right. And here was this powerful female talking about mindset and learning how to coach yourself and honor what you're feeling and all these terms that I just never heard before. And actually, it was like I had a hard time feeling things in my body at the time. And then I was listening to Amy Porterfield give so much hope in so many situations of all these businesses going online, dance studios, chefs, all these realtors having these online programs. And I'm like, oh, I can do this. But I was waiting, right? And then several months in, this crazy thing happened where Amy Porterfield was interviewed by Brooke Castillo, and Brooke Castillo was interviewed by Amy Porterfield. They were on each other's podcast. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is a sign. They know each other. And it was like mind blowing. I remember being so excited. And in fact, it gave me courage when I was scrolling on Instagram one day. This was several years ago. This was back in like 2018. I saw Amy Porterfield's one of her Instagram posts and it said La Costa. And I was like, what? Because it was around the area where I lived. And so I messaged her thinking I was going to get a response from her team, but she actually responded to me and we met for juice. I got to meet her in real life. I was starstruck, probably more than if I had saw Jennifer Aniston out on the streets. I was starstruck because her voice is so similar to the podcast. I had listened to the podcast now every week religiously for over a year. And there she was in real life. And we talked for over an hour. And she picked my brain. I think I was her ideal avatar because I had a brick and mortar and I wanted to go online. And, she was just someone I looked up to. And she came to my yoga class afterwards. We set it up where she came to yoga because she was in her health journey at the time. And if you look back to pictures back then, she's lost a lot of weight. She really brings more health and wellness into her marketing. And so she was trying yoga. So she came to my yoga class and it was a big deal. And I still was sluggish to launch that online program, even with all of this. And you know what it took. And this is the part where you usually hear it, where my daughter said, Mommy, I miss you when I came home one Sunday after a yoga teacher training. And then I got diagnosed with Lynch syndrome and shortly after stage 1 rectal cancer. And that finally gave me the courage to move online. But it was still so scary for me. And so that's what I want you to hear. That movement where I finally launched my online program, it wasn't the first moment. There had been 100 moments before that one. The Saturday morning I missed for a workshop Saturday morning I missed with my family for a workshop. The evening I missed putting her to bed because I was teaching a yoga class. The family adventure I said no to. Dinner I rushed through. The weekend I was leading another teacher training. Every one of those tiny moments of I'll build the online side when had stacked one upon the other. And then it was that pivotal moment for me. And this is why I'm so passionate about it. I could have started a lot sooner. And had I been doing all this work that I'm doing now back then, everything happens for a reason. So I'm working through it at my own pace, the perfect pace, really. But if I could save anyone the years of struggle that I went through and shorten the learning curve for you and reduce some of the heartache and frustration and time lost, that's my goal for you. That's the point. Because waiting isn't neutral. We act like waiting sometimes or not making the decision as just like pausing, like it's a free option. Like you're just sitting still and the clock is sitting still and nothing's moving. And then you can just pick it back up whenever you want. No harm done. I'll just do it and launch it in the fall when my kids are back in school. But that's not how waiting works because the clock is moving. You are moving. The cost is accumulating in those moments, just like all those moments I listed out to you for me, that you don't see till much later. In fact, inside the blueprint, there's an entire module. It's called the stress resilience system. And inside that system, there's a tool that I call the decision matrix. And I'm going to walk you through part of it right now and tell you how to use it on this podcast. But what it does is it puts the decision you've been avoiding on one page in 4 quadrants. And it forces you to see the full shape of what you're actually deciding. So you can make an informed, logical front brain decision instead of a reactive nervous system decision or fear based decision. It forces you to see the full shape of what you're actually deciding. Because here's the thing no one tells you about the waiting: every no is a yes to something else, and every yes is a no to something else. So every time you say no to launching the online program, you're saying yes to maybe some people pleasing or another year of the insurance grind or another 4,000 a month in the clinic working way more than you want to. Every time you say no to building it down, to building it now, you are saying yes to figuring out it alone for another 12 months while your competitor online or down the road actually starts right now. The decision matrix makes it all visible. It's on paper in your own handwriting. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So here's a taste. This is just a taste of it. Pull out a piece of paper, draw a line in the middle, and then a line across. So you have 4 quadrants. At the top of the page, write the decision you've been sitting in for 2 years, launching that online program. And then let's fill out the 4 boxes. Top left box, what's the benefit of saying yes to launching in the next 90 days? Top right, what's the benefit of saying no to launching in the next 90 days? Bottom left, what's the benefit of saying yes to staying exactly where you are and waiting? And what's the benefit of saying no to saying exactly where you are and not waiting? That's it. That's the test. Or, excuse me, that's the taste. Do the 4 boxes today before you'll do anything else. And this is often where I'll tell my clients and bring that to coaching because we can work on what's a nervous system response and not really the response that you want to do. And if there's true time logistics, then we can problem solve for that. But so this gets it all out of your head. And so it's not just a nervous system response. Then we can build the identity of the person who's able to care for sick parents, their children, run their business, and start to build that online program one thing at a time. The matrix makes it visible what your true desire is in your own handwriting. And you've heard about a lot of my clients here on the podcast from their own mouth. Betty, who launched her online program and had a goal of 10 people and got 15. Rachel, who came to me at 3 to 5K revenue months and now is working towards her multiple 6-figure year, has consistently been hitting 5-figure months, about 14,000 every single month except one this year. Or Sharon, who has sold out her online knitters program and had the most people ever that she's taught on Zoom at the same time, even though she's been running classes for decades. None of these practitioners, when they started working with me, waited. They might have waited beforehand or was spinning beforehand, but when we started working together, we got to work and they started achieving these results. And here's what I really want you to hear. None of these women, they feel behind. Each of them are different. None of them are scrambling for the next certification, although they are all seekers and they continue to learn practitioner skills. None of them is on their 5th course this year because they've scrapped 4 others. They are inside doing the work. And these are all the results of the work. The math is moving in a direction that they want to move. And, a few years ago, they all might have been exactly where you are. And the thing that separated these women from waiting wasn't from the women that are waiting isn't talent. It's not readiness. It's not because of time. It's not because their kids are older or they don't have challenges in their life. It was just a decision, one conversation, one moment of saying, okay, I'm ready to do this. Or I know Allison's going to be in my corner and help me to do this. And she's going to walk me along the path. And if they can do it, if I can do it, you can do it too. And here's the thing, if you're saying, I have little kids at home, I'll do it in a few years when they're older. Now's the time for you to be spending more time with them. And if you're bringing in revenue from working from home, think about how much freedom and flexibility that gives you to pick your children up from school, to take off during their breaks, and not having to ask permission in a clinic or not being stuck in a clinic till 5 p.m. And the truth is, when they get older, there's going to be other problems. There'll be the teenage thing, or elderly parent might get sick, or you might need a surgery, or your partner might need a surgery, or your partner's job changing. There's always a thing. And if you're thinking, well, Allison, I really have pressing matters that need to be prioritized right now, the online program can wait. Sure, I hear you. And I'm not going to tell you that you don't have to do that, but there might be a way that if you really wanted to do the online program, that you can do both. And it just is a problem solving situation. And that's what I love to do. I love problem solving. And it's having a process to learn how to plan for obstacles, because the businesses that are successful are the ones that have a sustainable schedule and have a plan so the doors can be open, even if they're on vacation or even if they're having dinner with family. So for me, as you know, I've gone through several really difficult life circumstances, and I've never put a pause in my business. I did take time to grieve. I did take time to heal from surgery, but I've never closed the doors to my business. I found ways to work through my obstacles so I could stay consistent. So if you're on the fence and you just want a little nudge and you're considering of doing the online program and you're like, okay, well, maybe it is my time. Here's a simple next step. On Tuesday, June 2nd at 10 a.m. Pacific, I'm running a free webinar. It's called Replace Your In-Person Clinic Salary Online, and it's free. Show up to that. Get registered. Watch the replay if you can't make it live, although there'll be some bonuses for those that do watch it live. Just take that next step for yourself. You don't have to do anything after that, but you'll be taking one step further, moving in the direction of the goal that you want. And I would also ask yourself, as you're writing out that decision-making matrix, if you launch that online program. I have many people that come to the consult call with me and they tell me things like, well, I want to launch an online program because it'll make me more accessible so I can help more people that can't afford my one-to-one rate. Or I want to help people like Arlene, who helps people with long haul COVID or who are recovering from bariatric services. And they might not have access to a specialist like her. And they might have gotten body shamed or treated poorly in Western medicine. She wants to help more of those people. Valid. I do want you to be of service to people. But also, I want to ask yourself, and this is what I ask the people on the consult, is what's in it for you? Why do you want to do that online program? And notice if guilt comes up or feelings of selfishness come up or fears come up or blocks, because that is what you can get coached on. Because you deserve all those reasons to do the online program. Yes, for the patients that you can help, but also for you. You 100% deserve that. And I want you to have that as well, because I'm on the other side and I can tell you there's so much freedom and flexibility from having that and getting out of that back-to-back grind. Okay, so if this landed for you, get registered for the webinar. I'll see you there. Send it to a practitioner friend that you've been talking about and they want to be launching their online program and they're also saying maybe in the fall. And just remember, the readiness is already there. It's already within inside of you. It's already arrived. All you have to do is say yes to starting it now and take one simple step forward, and you can start walking towards this. You've got this. I'm here to help you through it, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.